Do not light the 11th candle. Instructions for the vigil hour. I wasn't supposed to find the journal. It was sealed inside a cavity in the chapel wall, behind a stone slab marked only with a symbol, an open eye with a flame inside the iris. We were renovating the old St. Neven's church, a job our company picked up because no one else would. The parish hadn't operated in decades, ever since that incident in 1971 where the last caretaker vanished. The town called it an electrical fire. But there were no burn marks. No ashes. Just a chapel frozen in time. That was 3 weeks ago. I should have left then. Should have handed in the keys and torched the journal before reading a single page. But I didn't. Curiosity is louder than fear sometimes. Especially when it whispers in your voice. The journal's title read: Instructions for the Vigil Hour, 11 Candles, 1 Hour, and the Silence Between Each Flame. It sounded like nonsense, some religious tradition, maybe. But the deeper I read, the clearer it became, this wasn't worship. It was containment. Each night, a ritual was performed by the caretakers. Beginning exactly at 11 p.m. they lit a circle of 10 candles in precise sequence and watched them for 1 full hour. Not a second more. Not a second less. The 11th candle, the black one, was never to be lit. The journal didn't say what would happen if you lit it. Only that no one ever had. Until I did. It was stupid curiosity. I found the candle wrapped in burlap behind the altar. Short, cold, impossibly heavy. It smelled like damp stone and something sweet rotting in the walls. The others went home for the night. I waited for the clock to strike 11 o'clock and lit each of the 10 white candles, just like the journal described. One by one, in a clockwise circle. Whispering the phrases. Holding my breath between each flame. The chapel went silent. Utterly silent. No wind. No outside noise. Not even my heartbeat. The moment the 10th candle lit, the air froze around me. Not cold, frozen. Like sound and time had paused. And then, I lit the 11th. At first, nothing happened. The candle didn't even flicker. But then every other flame bent toward it. Like they were being pulled. Like the black candle was drinking the light. A low hum vibrated beneath the chapel floor. A door somewhere opened, but not a door in this world. The back of my neck buzzed like static, and the shadows behind the pews began to move. Against the light. I ran. God help me, I ran. But the moment I crossed the threshold, I was back inside the circle of candles. The same time. The same silence. The same smell. The vigil hour doesn't end when you run. It ends when it decides you're done. Rules to survive the vigil hour. 1. Begin the ritual only at 11 p.m. sharp. Not a second early, not a second late. Time outside the circle doesn't exist once you begin. If you start late, you won't be the one lighting the candles. 2. Use only the 10 white candles. Place them exactly 3 feet apart in a perfect circle. If one flickers on its own, do not relight it. Something else is inside the flame now. 3. Do not break the circle. No matter what you see, hear, or feel behind you, stay in the center. If someone you love appears outside the circle and begs you to help them, ask this: what song played at your funeral? If they answer, they are not who you think they are. If they don't, they never died, and you'll be next. 4. Under no circumstances light the 11th candle. If it lights on its own, extinguish it with your breath while whispering your full name backward. If you fail, the flame learns your true name. You become the 11th. 5. If the candles go out all at once, it's too late. Do not move. Close your eyes. Count to 11, and only 11. If you count to 12, you never existed. 6. Complete the vigil before midnight. Blow out the candles counterclockwise, one at a time. If one refuses to go out, it's no longer wax. It's a mouth. Do not put your face near it. It will speak your next mistake aloud. 7. Never return to the chapel after surviving the ritual. Once you complete a vigil, the chapel remembers you. Even if you leave, the 11th candle may reappear in your home. And if it ever lights itself, you're not living in your house anymore. The chapel followed you. I've written this from the floor of my apartment. The flame of the 11th candle is flickering across the room right now, and I never brought it home. My reflection is moving slower than I am. My voice sounds like an echo from someone else's mouth. So please, if you find this journal, if you find any candle that smells like stone and honeyed rot, do not light it. Or you'll learn what I did. That flame doesn't illuminate. It opens. Not a door. Not a portal. Something worse. It opens you. The flame doesn't burn, it burrows. It peels back layers you never meant to show, not just skin or bone but memory, intention, guilt. It spills the hidden things. I watched the black flame swell and pulse like a heartbeat, then suddenly narrow into a spiral, and that's when I understood, this candle is not a tool. It's a mouth. A hungry, old thing, pretending to be flame just long enough for you to trust it. And when you do, it speaks you. I started hearing my own voice whispering thoughts I never spoke aloud. Secrets I buried deep. Regrets I locked away like old coffins. But the voice didn't come from inside my head, it came from the shadows behind the flame. The corners of the chapel twisted wider than the room allowed. The pews stretched into darkness. The floorboards pulsed like a throat. And behind the altar, where no flame reached, something listened. The journal didn't describe this part. Maybe because no one ever got far enough to write it down. Maybe because the ones who did never came back whole. The 11th candle doesn't possess you. It remembers you. I tried to leave again. I stepped over the circle, burning a hole in my shoe where the wax had hardened, and ran for the exit. But the chapel spun in place. The door stayed fixed in the same position, no matter how many steps I took. The ceiling melted into stars, and the stars blinked like wet, searching eyes. And then I saw them. The former keepers. 10 of them. Wax-dripping silhouettes hunched in the corners of the chapel. Each with melted skin like old candle wax, holding a burned wick where their tongues should have been. I knew they had once sat where I sat, read the same journal, and made the same fatal decision. One reached toward me. His fingers were fused together into a tapering point. He wrote something across the pew in dripping soot. You lit it. You keep it. That's when I understood the truth. Once the 11th candle is lit, someone must sit vigil forever. It cannot be undone. The black flame demands a sentinel. A witness. A body to wear. And if you try to leave, it finds another way to keep you. Final rules of the black flame vigil, the unwritten set. 8. Do not speak aloud after the 11th candle is lit. Every word you speak becomes a thread in the veil between this world and the vigil room. When the thread frays, something else comes through. 9. If the shadows of the candles stretch toward you instead of away, do not blink. Shadows are meant to follow you, not reach. If you blink, you'll see what's casting them. And if you see it, it sees you forever. 10. If your voice sounds different, lower, slower, with a delay, stop speaking immediately. It's no longer your voice. It's the vigilant flame learning how to mimic you. The more you talk, the better it remembers. 11. The 11th candle will attempt to follow you home. Do not allow it inside. If you wake and see a candle already lit at the foot of your bed, do not move. It's not a flame. It's an eye. If it closes before you look away, you'll take its place. 12. Do not write down the full ritual in one sitting. Ink carries memory. Memory carries weight. The full ritual, written at once, forms a sigil, and that sigil becomes a door. You are not meant to open. I no longer sleep. I no longer speak above a whisper. I haven't looked into a mirror since the night I escaped. If it was an escape. The black candle isn't here anymore. But its smoke stains the corners of my apartment, thick and oily and breathing. Sometimes I hear the doorbell at 11 p.m. sharp. No one's there. Just the smell. That awful, sweet, decayed stone smell. Sometimes I dream of firelight even with my eyes open. Sometimes, in moments of silence, I feel someone behind me matching my breath. And when I light a candle to calm my nerves, just a normal candle, from the store, I swear I see a second flame beside it, flickering in reverse. So please, if you find the journal, if you enter a chapel and see 10 white candles placed in a circle, do not touch them. Do not whisper. Do not stay. You'll think it's just superstition. You'll think, I'll just look. But remember this. You don't light the 11th candle. It lights you. And once it does, the vigil hour begins. And it never ends. I thought that meant I was cursed to relive it. Some kind of loop. But no, worse. The vigil hour doesn't reset. It spreads. After the chapel, I avoided candles. Even avoided flashlights for a while. I stayed in motels where I could see the smoke detector blinking above me like a heartbeat. But the thing is, I started seeing that same black flame elsewhere. In reflections. In puddles. In the glint of a car window on rainy nights. Not a candle, not a real fire. Just a shape, dancing where it shouldn't exist. Flickering toward me. Always toward. I finally tried therapy. The therapist's office was bright, normal. Warm wood and lavender air freshener. I thought I was safe. until she asked about my rituals. I never told her about the vigil hour. Not a word. And yet she knew to ask. When I looked at her eyes, they were too still. Unblinking. The flicker of flame behind the pupils was almost imperceptible, but there. She leaned forward, notepad on her lap, and whispered. "Do you remember which candle you blew out first?" I ran. She didn't follow. She didn't have to. It followed me. It doesn't burn wood anymore. It burns time. I've begun to lose hours. Days. I wake up in strange places, abandoned train stations, long-forgotten basements, once even inside a funeral home with a row of unlit candles circling me. Sometimes I wake with wax on my fingers, soot under my nails. Once, my lips were scorched shut. The worst was the night I woke up already mid-ritual. 9 candles lit. One in my hand. The black one resting in the center, cold but pulsing. No memory of how I got there. Just the familiar silence pressing against me like a vice. I stood frozen, unsure whether I was the performer or the offering. That's when I noticed it. The 11th figure. Watching me. It wore my face, but older. More hollow. Like someone who had screamed all their breath out a decade ago. Its head tilted when I hesitated. And it smiled. I didn't light the black candle that time. It did. Addendum, the hidden rules, for those already chosen. 13 If you've already lit the 11th candle, or if it's already lit itself near you, you must follow these rules. There's no escape, only delay. Do not trust photographs. If you appear in a photo but cast no shadow, you've already begun to burn. You are not dying. You are being transcribed, into memory, into light, into ritual. 14 If you ever hear a whisper saying your name at the exact moment a flame flickers, respond with silence. If you answer, the voice binds your breath to the vigil. You'll begin to smell smoke where none exists. 15 Avoid symmetry in all forms. Perfect circles. Mirrored rooms. Twin candles. Symmetry is how the vigil recognizes itself in your world. It uses it as a doorway. 16 Never light a candle for someone who has died recently. Their spirit may not come. But the vigil will answer. It will wear their face, their voice, their last moment, and it will ask you to help carry their flame. 17 If you survive the vigil 3 times, you must become a keeper. The next time the black flame calls, you won't watch it. You'll guide it. You'll sit across from someone just like you once were. And you'll teach them how to hold the candle. And you'll smile, not out of cruelty, but because now you finally understand. There is no escape. Only continuation. Only flicker after flicker. So here I am. Writing this from a train station that doesn't appear on maps. No clocks. Just an unlit circle of candles beneath the floorboards. My phone has no signal, but the flame still knows how to reach me. It doesn't need Wi-Fi. It uses memory. If you've read this far, you're already flickering. And maybe, just maybe, you're the next vigilant. So one last time, and listen closely. If a black flame appears tonight, do not light it. If it's already lit, don't look into it. Don't speak near it. Don't let it learn your name. Because it doesn't just open doors. It opens you. And it never, ever, closes.